This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee? Welcome to Lockdown Coverage Week number 15 in the National Football League. Buffalo Bills at home, taking on the Cleveland Browns. Not a lot of intrigue in this game per se. Bills still mathematically alive in the playoffs, but realistically, Bills aren't going to make the postseason. A lot of controversy surrounding the Bills right now. Is general manager Doug Willie going to be back? Is head coach Rex Ryan going to be back? What's the state of Tyrod Taylor and him being the starter in Buffalo? A lot of questions, not a lot of answers right now for the Buffalo Bills. But one thing was for sure in this game, they were going to get a win because they're playing the Cleveland Browns. As for the Browns, they're just looking to avoid infamy going down as the second team in NFL history during the 16-game regular season slate to go winless. Third team overall in NFL history. Bucs did it back in the day when the regular season was 14 games long, but they're looking to avoid that. Probably not going to happen. They're not a good football team. And this was an odd game for the Browns because this was one of the few times where you actually said, this isn't the Browns just being the Browns. They're just not good. Like, normally you get a couple of plays or a couple of situations where you go, God, the Browns are terrible. This is why they're the Browns. But it wasn't really a bunch of those as much as it was, they're just not good. Shady McCoy ate them up. They had some penalties. They just didn't get it done offensively. We'll talk about it. But first and foremost, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. We're changing the game over here. I want you to help us do that by simply subscribing to the Louie Tee Network on YouTube. Also, I'm on Twitter at In The Lab Room is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter. And also, I'm on Facebook. In The Lab Room is the Facebook page. All of my social media platforms are up in that center console, scrolling across the screen so you can't miss them. Go ahead and handle that. Like, follow, and most importantly, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network on YouTube. Now, that being said, I'm going to take care of things from the Buffalo Bills end of the spectrum. They went out early in this game, a little stagnant on offense. They ran the football very effectively. If not for some penalties on their end, this thing might have been out of control a little bit earlier than it was, but they couldn't get out of their own way. They get down into the red zone on their first possession, have to settle for a field goal. But they eventually ratcheted it up. They got it a touchdown at the end of the first quarter, got another touchdown right before halftime to Charles Clay to extend the lead out to 17-3. They scored another touchdown, then allowed the Cleveland Browns to get a couple of points in the third quarter to make it seem a little close. But all in all, this was a thorough beating handed out by the Buffalo Bills. And a lot of it was done on the ground, whether it was Tyrod Taylor using his legs, Shady McCoy putting up huge numbers, or even Brandon Tate getting involved with a little trickeration with a little reverse where he has the football literally in his hand like this and trying to corral it as he's running with it for about a good 3 or 4 yards. That was neat. The Bills didn't do anything extraordinary here. They did what they've done when they've won this season, which is slow the other team down, run the football effectively, don't turn it over, and Tyrod Taylor does just enough to win you the football game. And in this game, you didn't need much from Tyrod Taylor because, again, the running game was so effective, and the Browns are the Browns. So you're not going to have to score 35, which you scored 33 anyway, but you didn't need all of those points because you're playing the Browns. They're not going to score a ton of points. So the Bills went out, executed, did what they have to do. It's a home game. It's tough to play in Buffalo in December, and they got it done, 33-13. Not really much to take away from this game. Again, Bills aren't going anywhere. The Browns aren't going anywhere. So not a lot of intrigue here with this football game, but the Bills did get it done. And like I said, a lot of the damage done in this game on the ground for the Bills in this game. Shady McCoy over 1,000 yards again. If there's one guy on that Buffalo Bills team that is scary, that's hard to stop, it's Shady McCoy. Everyone else on that team, you're just looking around and you're saying, okay, it's ho-humish. But if Shady McCoy gets going, it could be a long day for you against the Buffalo Bills. Speaking of which, Dolphins coming into town next week. I've seen seasons go to Buffalo and die. 2 years ago, the Dolphins season died in Buffalo. Last year, the Jets season died in Buffalo. I've seen seasons go and die in Buffalo. Here's an opportunity for the Bills to play a meaningful game within the division. And look, if I'm not going, you're not going either. This is what family members do. They love to drag other family members down with them. Here's a golden opportunity for the Bills to do exactly that. And they're saying, hey, we're not mathematically dead yet. They're going to need a ton of help, which they probably won't get in any event. They're going to give it a run. Next week's a golden opportunity for them to drag a family member down with them in the Miami Dolphins, who are looking to try to get into the postseason without Ryan Tannehill. We'll see what happens in that game next week. That should be an intriguing matchup. Bills at home versus the Dolphins. The Cleveland Browns in this game dropped to 0-14. It's what you expect. I mean, like I said, there weren't any, oh, God, that's the Browns moments in this game. Like I said, ton of penalties early in the game. You get a nice little run from Crowell, and what happens? It's a penalty. Called back, and next thing you know, you're in 3rd and 14. The thing I hate about the offense right now with Robert Griffin III in is that it's dink and dunk city. Everything's a check down. Everything's a quick hitch. Everything's a wide receiver screen. Nothing vertically challenging the team down the field. Nothing scaring you. So you can pretty much pack everything in, come within 12 yards of the line of scrimmage, and force them to try to beat you vertically, which they can't do with Robert Griffin III in the lineup because either they're unwilling to do so or they're incapable of doing so. Either way, everything is so short to intermediate with Robert Griffin III in the game. It doesn't scare anyone defensively, which means everything's going to be packed in. You're not going to have any space for those checkdowns that I'm referring to. You're not going to have any space for the run game. It just makes everything harder underneath when you can't rely on your quarterback to threaten the other team vertically. And with Robert Griffin III in the lineup, it just seems like everything is short to intermediate, and really most things are short. Everything is quick, dink and dunk. When he does throw it 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, it's a check down. And that's because the defense is giving you the check down because it's 3rd and 18, which it seems like the Browns found themselves in a lot of 3rd and extremely long situations due to penalties or bad play calling. In any event, it wasn't a fluid offense. It is what it is. Like I said, there weren't many situations where you said, man, that was pathetic. It was just they weren't good. You know, they had the Bills on the first possession. The Bills tried a little hitch screen to Shady McCoy, and the Browns dropped him for a 2-yard loss, and it's 2nd and 12. And they give up 18 yards on the next play on a run to Shady McCoy. And then on the next play after that, they give up another 14. I mean, that's the kind of stuff they were doing in this game. It was 3rd and 22 on one play, and they give up 23. I mean, that's what the Browns are doing right now. But aside from that, they couldn't stop Shady McCoy on the ground. They couldn't stop anybody. Tyrod Taylor had a couple of big scrambles. One set up a touchdown run. They had a big run to Brandon Tate on the reverse. Shady McCoy just continued to gash them throughout the afternoon. 2 touchdowns for him on the ground and well over 100 yards. After his first carry in the 3rd quarter, he had 11 rushes for 100 yards. I mean, you're talking about almost 10 a pop at that point. So they just had problems stopping the run in this game. Didn't really matter who it was. Mike Gillespie ended up with Gillespie had a touchdown as well. I mean, the Bills had their weight on the ground, and that's what propelled them. And the Bills are one of the best rushing teams in the league. So let's not act as if this isn't what the Bills do. They're one of the best rushing teams in the league are the Buffalo Bills, and they used that to catapult them to a win in this game, 33-13 over the Cleveland Browns. I don't think they're going to win a game. And I've been saying that. I'm rooting for them to win a game, but it's not going to happen. They're not good enough. And this was another game that reminds you that even when they don't do anything really bad, they didn't have any egregious turnovers or decisions or terrible plays, they're just not good. Simple as that. They don't have enough talent. They don't scare you. They're not a team that's going to beat you mano y mano. They line up. Let's line up. Our guys are better than your guys. Let's go out and win. They can't do that. They're just not better than the team that they're playing against. Simple as that. And so week in, week out, they're going to line up and they're going to lose. And that's what this game was all about. The Bills just simply said, hey, we're running right at you. Stop us. And the Browns simply could not do that in this game. And so they lose 33-13, drop to 0-14, and they're 2 games away from infamy. It's one of the worst teams in NFL history, along with the 08 Lions, or is it the 07? 07 Lions. Let's hope that it doesn't get to that. But who are you going to beat? I mean, listen. Are you going to beat the Chargers? Who are you going to beat? You going to beat the Steelers in Week 17? Yeah, right. I mean, seriously. Who are we kidding? Not much here to speak of. So, in any event, no comments. Why should there be? It's the Browns and the Bills. I mean, if it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on lockdown coverage. Bills get the 33-13 win over the Browns, get to 7-7 on the season, keep their slim postseason hopes alive with the win. Browns drop to 0-14, and it does not seem like it's going to get any better for this Browns team. They look like they're on a crash course for 0-16 this season. Remember, we're changing the game here, one live feed at a time. Got many more breakdowns, including the exhilarating finish out in Chicago, Packers and Bears. Oh my, I'll be back with that one a little bit later on. See you in a bit.